Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us for the 5G Broadcast Accelerator, the first of its kind at the Mobile World Congress. And I'm very honored to be there with a full room, and probably some more people will join us. So we will probably exceed the capacity. So first lessons learned is like next year we will do like in a bigger room, so that and hopefully the air conditioning is coming, so you will get fresh. Thank you very much for joining. We have called it the road to 100 million devices. So it's a good teaser. We will explain to you what are the assumptions very soon. But let's go quickly through the agenda. So my name is Philippe Poggianti. I will be your master of ceremony for today. I will moderate the panel. Very nice to meet you. So in terms of agenda, I will do a very brief introduction. The panel number one will talk about the ambitions of 5G broadcast, especially with a focus on Europe, but not only. So we will welcome more institutions to talk about this. Then we will have two keynote speakers from the ecosystem. The goal of this event is to really bring the ecosystem together. So it was important to have a representative from the chipset vendors, and Sunil from Qualcomm is in the room, and to have a representative from the smartphone tablet vendors, and Max is in the room for Motorola. So that will be great. And the last panel will be more to answer the why now question. So what are really the path to commercialization? We are past trials, we are moving now to commercial deployment. So we will have this debate about, you know, what for and why now. So 5G broadcast, where we are, what is it at the moment? You all know that this is really a possibility to expand the broadcast beyond DTT and to reinvent somehow digital terrestrial networks. What is it concretely? It's a 3GPP standardized feature. We call it 5G broadcast because people would not remember FEMBMS. It's 6-letter acronym. It's much too long. So it's one of the 3GPP tricks that we need to shorten the acronyms. But it's an evolution. FEMBMS is further evolved MBMS. So it's a downlink only. And the good news is that it's existing on the existing broadcast sites. So one could say the network is already ready because those high power in Europe already installed, used to do the digital terrestrial. In the US or elsewhere, it could be LPLT. But the network already exists. So that's really a great news compared with other technologies where nothing is happening. So the infra is there. In terms of market drivers, I decided to focus these market drivers from as if I was a smartphone vendor. As if I was an OEM vendor. And for me, it's clear, it's as an OEM, it solves some of the quality issues because when people are watching, a lot of people are watching over-the-top, one-to-one directional TV programs, when it is in high demand. I'm giving this example of the Olympics. People were looking at the athletics in the Stade de France, but they wanted also to check what was happening in the swimming pool. So the swimming pool is there with the French winner Léo Marchand, and everybody was doing that in the stadium, and it crashed the mobile network. So one-to-many is really the way to go, and your subscribers will thank you for allowing this type of value proposition. Also, they will thank you because of the solving the battery drain, because it consumes much less energy, and there is no relationship with the data cap, so you will not consume your data plan. Thirdly, it benefits from a global scale and a global standard, as I said. So it goes much beyond Europe. You will hear a lot of people from Europe, but in the audience, I really thank you. There are people from Brazil, there are people from the US, there are people, and I'm not sure if we have people from India, but you know, 5G broadcast is going much beyond Europe into vast countries, into very TV-oriented countries. So the global standard of 3GPP is allowing global scale for OEMs. And if I was an OEM, it would help me also from a brand positioning to embrace the sovereignty discussion. And of course, since this weekend, we are even more talk about sovereignty. Every day is geopolitical is different. Thanks to the alerting and the public warning system. So I tease you, but we will come back on these use cases very soon. And finally, so it unlocks this 100 million devices potential in Europe only, and you can multiply that with the other markets. So this would be, I would say, the kind of points that we will go through during the agenda. I want to say, and I want to thank you very much, this event has been organized by the 5G Broadcast Business Strategy Task Force, which is the members you can see here. It's a group of broadband network operators, BNOs, that are covering Europe, but of course it's open to go beyond Europe, with large countries like France, Italy, Germany, Poland, Czech Republic, and I forgot, no, I think I'm good. Yeah, and Belgium. And the teaser is that this map is already obsolete. At the end of today, we will update the map because we will do a special announcement at the end of this event. So the mission is really to prove to the ecosystem that it's working, and this is what we are going to do now. So without further ado, we will try to answer first the question, why 5G broadcast, and we will invite, please help me to welcome on stage the first four panelists. So I will ask, Arnaud Lucaussy. Please take a seat, Arnaud. The chairman of the Broadcast Network Europe, the BNE. Antonio Arcidiacono, the director of technology innovation, nickname is CTO sometimes we say, of European Broadcasting Union, the EBU. Dr. David Fernández, who is the co-founder and research director of South 180, and so you will get access in the delegate pack to the very comprehensive study that David and his colleagues have made about 5G broadcast. It's a very heavy 50-page document where you can find everything you need to know about the market, the technology, and the use cases. And finally, Jacques Donabouillu, the director of distribution of France Télévisions, the French broadcaster. Thank you very much for joining us on stage. I will start with Arnaud, and I need my note because I will do a quote from the latest one of the latest report of the European RSPG group, which was mentioning that 5G. So I quote: 5G broadcast is emerging as a potential complement to digital terrestrial television, particularly in mobile and hybrid environments. Technical trials in several member states of Europe have shown positive results, particularly where high-power, high-tower infrastructure can be adapted for outdoor coverage. So my question is simple. What has led to this position? What's the story? How do you unfold the story? And what are the consequences for the ecosystem, Arnaud?
Hello, thank you, Philippe, and thank you, everyone, for being here. So I am the chairman of BNE. BNE is a trade association of the broadcast networks operators in Europe. We have 18 members representing 20 countries, so we are pretty representative of what's happening in Europe. So Europe is a continent which harmonizes its regulation, audiovisual regulation, through licenses and through a dual model with public service. Public services, I want to welcome Antonio on my side and Jacques Donabouillu, and also private companies. So all of them are are promoting European values for democracy, and all this through a harmonized regulation. I am coming to your point. The regulation is done because of the licenses and to what spectrum. So the European framework defines how the spectrum is allocated for audiovisual and also telecom inside Europe. And therefore, we are able to promote this value for democracy. This is something which is unique in a way that we don't have those public services really, at least in the US and many other countries. And so we have this dual system. So for BNE, we can see that Europe is harmonizing things, and it is true that in the latest RSPG report, so RSPG is a radio spectrum policy group, which is the advisor for the European Commission, and it is a union of all the spectrum agencies within Europe. So 5G broadcast was mentioned more than 90 times, meaning the attention it is given, and it is a way for the future. It is clearly an option on the table. And for the device manufacturers, this means a harmonized market potentially, and I think the manufacturers, we are mostly non-European, know the value of having a unified European market for developing the business inside Europe. This is the reason why you are targeting 100 million devices, and we think this is very important now. As Philippe mentioned, we are at the moment at the right time. Why is it the right time? Because we are having congestion inside the mobile networks when you have live events. We also have a need for the broadcasters, public and private, to have younger audience, and we all know that the younger audience come through the mobile devices. And now everybody is ready. The members of BNE, so the 18 members I was mentioning, most of them are doing trials. We are ready to deploy. We'll have some testimony later in this event showing what our actions. We have the ecosystem. The regulation is getting all together. We have the equipment for broadcasting. We just need terminals. So my call today is very simple. We are at the moment. If you make terminal, you have a harmonized market, a European market, which is very powerful. So even if most of the manufacturers are non-European, we urge you to come to Europe and to provide the terminals, and you will see all the broadcasters, everybody will be aligned together to launch and to make 5G broadcasters successful, and you can count on the support of all the members of BNE who are very committed on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnaud. Yeah, I will remember this call for action. So that will be the first action we will take after, is the call for action from Arnaud. So moving to Antonio. So Antonio, when we were preparing together, you said, oh, so much has happened in the last 7 to 8 years of groundwork. You did the heavy lifting. So what are the concrete steps? So the past is the past, of course. We will not rehash, but what are the concrete steps that you can tell us about? And also, I don't know if it's ready yet, but do you have some recent outcomes regarding public warning systems, maybe already that you can touch upon?
So, first of all, good morning, colleagues, and I'm really glad to be here. I represent here, for those that are not doesn't know, the European Broadcasting Union is a union of public service media companies. With 113 companies, and this is Europe, this is Mediterranean, but it goes well beyond this. And actually our members also include as associate members, and maybe soon also becoming full members, from Canada down to Japan. So we have a vision starting from Europe, but with an expansion that is global, and we are the biggest consortium taking care of preparing the future for our members and seeing how we could deliver and reach 100% of the citizens with content that they are using daily, but that they should be able to use in an easier way into their mobile phones, which is what they have with them all day long. Even at night, they have the phone next to them on the side of their bed, and this is by far what is our sort of appendix there as we speak. So in this, I've been with EBU for a bit more than 7 years, and since I arrived, I tried to promote this, and we have gone through a historical evolution and technical evolution from release 16 now to release 19. Yes. And I must say that I'm proud of the technical work that has been done, because we may say that today we have a solution which is stable with all the functionalities, all the elements that allow for deploying the solution. Now, the thing is, how can we go from what we have done technically to a real commercial deployment, to a real operational deployment where citizens can profit of this? So on one side, we have done trials, more and more extended. With my friends from RAI, for example, they are running a 24/7 trial since November 24 now, so they've learned a lot. They've been measuring, they've been testing contents, etc. So this part also has been covered, and they continue. I mean, I was in Milan a few days ago. I mean, they are deploying in Rome, they are deploying in Turin, and they are expanding now to Milan, Naples, Palermo. So they are really trying on a large scale to see what can be achieved. And it is important that to see now how we can reach the real deployment. And as Arnaud was saying, terminals are key in all this. Now, one of the elements that has been recently approved in 6 months ago, about 6 months ago, a bit more than 6 months ago, is the possibility also of injecting 5G broadcast packets inside transmitters of DVB-T2 and of ATSC 3.0. And I hope in the future also ISDBT 3.0. So the basic idea is that you can use the existing networks also to deliver services. And to respond to the question that was asked, one of the functions beyond the content delivery, so audio, video, and I say audio on purpose because on your mobile phone, this will be a solution to deliver also content that today is not landing there. I mean, FM, DAB, unfortunately, is landing on the phones through the IP network, but not directly. So when you have an event like it happened here in Spain about a bit less than 1 year ago, and then for 17 hours, the network was completely down, in reality, the only way to reach the population was FM radio. And this was the only way people were informed about what was going on. Now, we need to have a solution, and is a solution integrated with what exists already on cellular. Of course, the cell broadcasting should be there. But on top of it, we need another layer to reach the population in case of need. So giving information and propagating the alerts. This is fundamental. So this additional part in the specs that goes in release 19 is exactly covering this need. Now, what does it mean? It means that for colleagues like I see our colleague from Motorola in front of me, but is valid for all the providers, if you are taking your 600 megahertz models that you are deploying in North America, and you make this a common feature worldwide, that's my invite to you. And this will cost you, actually, you will earn money because you will reduce the number of models because you will have a sort of universal model everywhere. That's a way for already today being able to receive alerts. So you don't need to change anything in the phone. You will be able to receive alerts. And with what you will hear from the operators, you will have the operators being able to deliver this, so to combine the alerts with what is happening on the normal cellular radio network. And in cases similar to Spain, similar to Berlin, a few months ago, it happened exactly the same. The energy was down. And this is the general idea, what I call our mission to Mars. We need a multi-layer, anywhere, resilient, sustainable infrastructure. We need at least 2 infrastructures independent to reach each and every user. If we have only one, I come from the satellite business in my past, is a single point failure, is what you are trying to fight all your life. So this is the first necessary step. And as I said, it should be for you an advantage to enter into a market and provide a real service while actually not spending any money as such. So this is the fundamental basis. Then on top of it, once we have this, we have the infrastructure for the distribution. I will finish. I need to explain the concept completely, because otherwise, what I don't like in conferences is that you are constrained to say 3 words, and then the rest people have to imagine. I prefer that I will not speak in the next turn. So with this, then you add the content, you add the live streaming, etc., and you have the real 5G broadcast deployment in the market. So I'll stop here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a great explanation. Thank you, Antonio. So now turning to David. So I will ask him even a more difficult performance than Antonio. Is to summarize the 55-page document into a few minutes. Why? Because we have called this the 5G Business Strategy Task Force called this event the Road to 100 Million Devices. And this is, we wanted to, because we can make up numbers, and it was important for the ecosystem in the room to understand where we are coming from in terms of hypothesis. So, David, according to your study, to 5G broadcast horizons for Europe, is there a tipping point where 5G broadcast becomes like a mandatory feature as opposed to a nice-to-have feature?
Yes,
And I will give you the.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely, and I think that I'm the one to blame for that figure, but I'm very happy, I'm very comfortable explaining how we reached that figure. Of course, nowadays there are 0 devices in the market. People cannot go to buy a 5G broadcast-enabled smartphone, but what we have done is that we have studied the market. Every year there are around 135 million smartphones sold across Europe. So there are a lot of new devices coming into the market every year. We have studied like all the trends. We held interviews with people from the industry, with people from manufacturers, from broadcasters, from broadcast network operators, and we put all this together and created a scenario. A scenario, of course, is not a prediction. You cannot predict the future, but according to the signals and the evidences that we have now, we created this scenario that we think is realistic. And as I said, I will not go into the details, but I'm happy to discuss this further with you after the session. This goal of the 100 million devices actually is what we achieve with these scenarios. And I want you to focus in the context, but because it's not just about the numbers, about the data, but it's about, I think the important part is the context, how we achieve that, how we arrive to that point, right? So in this scenario, we are contemplating that devices may reach the European market in the first half of 2028. Of course, it would be like the premium segment of the market. We know that Apple will not be the first one doing this. And in Europe, the premium market is basically monopolized by Apple. So it will be a very soft starting point with some Android manufacturers launching this. So it will be based on those manufacturers. But as I said before, there are more than 130 million devices coming into the market every year. And once that the premium devices are there, this logically scales down to mid-range devices. And these mid-range devices starts to be huge and it starts to be more the domain of Android manufacturers, right? So we can see that with this and more countries launching across Europe, we can expect more than 50 million devices already by 2029. Here, there is an important aspect, and this connects with what Antonio said, that especially in the eastern part of the continent, because of the geopolitical situation, there is a specific interest, or they are stressing the public warning system capabilities of these devices. This is essential for them. This can be life or death, and when you talk with people in that part of Europe, they are very serious about this. So this will push also the demand on this. When these devices, these millions of devices start to hit the market, we can also expect the broadcasters not just simulcast the linear channels, but start to adapt those channels to the consumption on a mobile phone. The consumption on a mobile phone, you can expect that will be shorter in time, so you cannot expect people watch a movie perhaps while they are commuting, so you need to adapt to this type of consumption. And then we can expect the broadcasters to rearrange the content to prepare these specific channels. This is a discussion that, for instance, is being held in Germany with the colleagues from SWR. They have very clear that they need to adapt this to the market once the market starts to emerge, right? And then I think that the big date is 2030. For many reasons. In 2030, we can expect more than 100 million devices. In the 21 EU markets that we expect by then will be ready, will have these services. And why 2030 is important? We have a football World Cup taking place in the continent. This is the biggest TV event ever. It's in prime time in Europe. It will be in holidays time when people may be more willing to use other kind of devices because they are not like in the normal home, in the usual home. We also have the Olympic Winter Games in France. They just finished 2 weeks ago. The audiences were fantastic.
Jacques is ready already.
And I think that
we are ready. Yes.
They are already working on that. So
we are working on it.
I think that we can also expect that demand because the event will be in Europe. There is demand in Europe. This is a huge event in Europe. So there are 2 big events at the time that will boost this. And in this context, one of the elements that is less clear is if there will be a mandate from the European Union to equip the smartphones with 5G broadcast capabilities. This is something that is being discussed in Brussels. It's something that has happened before, for instance, with radio in cars, with digital radio in cars, because of the same reasons, because of the public warning systems capabilities that the system has. And considering the turmoil in geopolitics that we have now in Europe and the discussions being held in Brussels now, resilience and digital sovereignty are the two big or basically unique topics that regulators and policymakers are talking about. So this is a big win for them if mandated. And obviously, this would accelerate the penetration of the market, would bring some players earlier into the market, because actually these 100 million devices include just a very few, a couple of millions from Apple, nothing more. So if you would really have Apple, which has 1/3 of the European market there earlier, of course, this figure could be reached at an earlier point.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now with David, we have really, thank you. We have set the scene, and we know under which assumption at least our task force is working towards. So we have our marching orders, let's say, from David, and now we have only to execute. Very easy job. So that's the easiest job. And we need partners to execute. So that will be Jacques will explain to us. So Jacques, there is something really important happening at the moment for broadcasters like France Télévisions in France, but it's valid for many other broadcasters throughout Europe, is that the young population is using your digital application. So it's not just like a young population do not look at TV at all. No, they do look at it, but using your digital app. So how does it work? What's 5G broadcast can add into the mix?
Thank you. Thank you all for coming to listen to us and explain how we see the development of 5G broadcast. So I am from France Télévisions, which is a public service media in France. I will not dissert a lot of all the issues we have about performing neutral information for all people. You know how this issue is important right now, and I think public service media are key for this. And I'm happy that we still have some public service media in Europe. It's not the case for all countries. So we have a very important mission, but I will not talk a lot about that. We are very interested in France Télévisions on innovation because we try to invent the future with all this innovation. And under the wise guidance of Antonio, and other broadcasters of UBU, but not only. I saw some friends of other broadcasters here in the room. We have been thinking of what could reinforce the media on mobile due to new technology such as 5G, and the working group I've worked quite well, and we did some experimentation, and the most interesting trials we made was last year, and not last year, 1 year and a half ago, on the Paris Olympic Games, where we had a 5G broadcast of the Olympic Games in Paris. Not on a large scale, because there were not a lot of receivers, only a few hundreds, I would say. But it was very interesting on the technical point of view to see how it works, how people can use it, and of course we were very happy of some of the results. But there was still some work to do, and some technical issue on the receivers to solve. So I am happy to see that this is going on track, and that will hopefully we'll have 100 million receivers to do a 5G broadcast. As you mentioned, traditional broadcasters such as us comes from linear. People used to have their TV set and watch us on linear, and so we're happy to find the news at 8 p.m. and the movie at 9 p.m., etc., etc. Now, linear is still very important, but non-linear is increasing a lot. And on mobile, the audience is for traditional broadcaster and traditional media is still low, but it's still also increasing. And we think it has a great future if we can find the right format to provide to our audience. And the right formats are rather shorter formats, a few minutes, video formats, not an hour film, movie, etc. It's too long. People don't watch a lot this on their mobile. So short format or live event. They don't want to lose. And they want to watch the last game of their favorite team in football, or watch the final of the 100 dash on TV, or the Olympics in Milan. And so you have either this very important event that do a lot of audience. People want to watch and don't lose any minutes of this event, or very short media that we have to produce. And we were organized to produce long media. So we are moving, and with the help of IA, for example, we can produce very easily from long media to short medias. For example, IA can help you to make the highlights of a sport event very easily. You just have to control that what goes out of the IA is not rubbish, and it's very necessary. But you can do that. And 5G broadcasts in this system can be very important. I think for the end user, he will enter your app, France Télévisions, for example, or Rai, or whatever. He will not know whether he's watching on 5G broadcast on ETT. It's not important for him. He wants a good service. He wants a good quality. Just push 5G broadcast on the program that make high audience, whether they are live events or whether they are short videos, and you have determined that these videos will make a lot of audience. I think this is a key for a good business case. And if you do that, I think you can increase your audience and therefore increase your advertising revenue, which is very important because you have to pay for a new network. And you will probably also lower your OPEX because you don't have to pay so much for bandwidth or CDN, etc. So we see an interesting future for 5G broadcast in this case, mixing high value, large audience events such as sports or premium news, etc., and short video that are viewed by a lot of people. For example, a highlight of match or of game, or some news, some breaking news that you want to have the highlights of what's happening the next day in the war between Iran, Israel, and USA, for example. So. That was the use case we see. Of course, we have to make trials, and I am happy to confirm that we have a strong partnership with TDF to make trials on maybe next year or
hopefully this year.
Yeah, to do trials on larger scales. And we are also interested and working on a trial for alerting population in our overseas territories, where we have a lot of typhoons coming. For example, in La Réunion, it is a good way to inform populations that something is coming, because just as Antonio mentioned, when you don't have any more electricity, when mobile networks are down, it's good to have something to broadcast to people and to inform people. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jacques. So what I heard is it's really fascinating. It's the first time, and we didn't prepare that together. It's first time that we are, looking at the impact of AI into how distribution, we are not in the Mobile World Congress speaking about telecoms and AI on RAN. We are talking about AI for selecting for the young population some short formats that will be appealing to them. And this would be another market driver that I will write for the next version of my slide. And this is fascinating. Thank you so much, Jacques. Thank you very much for the whole panel. We are running a little bit late, so we can discuss during the break. Thank you very much.